This video isn't going to give you techniques to calm your nervous system while you're rushing to your next appointment. Techniques are helpful in the moment, but what if you could get to a place where you didn't have to rush so much, where your life wasn't so hectic in the first place? To be honest, I sat down to write this video thinking that I would just give you a list of 10 habits that I do every day to calm my nervous system, and maybe I could have done that, but it didn't quite feel right because for me, it hasn't really worked like that. It hasn't been about a checklist that I do each day. As helpful as those things are, they often just mask the fact that we're living a life that's too full, too overwhelming, because I don't want to spend my life constantly asking, how can I support my nervous system today? Have I done my breathing? Have I done my journaling? I don't want a checklist kind of life. I want to build a life where I don't have to keep asking that question, where the life itself is doing the work and the life itself is calming my nervous system. And I think we often just skirt around the thing that is going to make the biggest difference, simplifying our lives. And it does require us to confront ourselves a bit more and the decisions that we're making and the life that we're living. It's not easy. It's not just a 5-minute meditation. And later in this video, we'll think of some ways that you can start to gently redesign your life so that it naturally supports your nervous system without you constantly needing to rely on techniques or checklists. Designing a life that supports calm rather than constantly trying to manage the stress that your life is creating. Because so many of us are living in this constant state of stress and hurry and tension, and we're rushing everywhere and we're worrying and we're overwhelmed and we're bombarded with information everywhere we look. We multitask through everything. We scroll while we eat. We wake up and our mind is already spinning and looking at our emails. We're always trying to be more productive. We rush through our meals. We say yes to things that we really would rather say no to. And so we see someone suggest trying something like a 5-minute meditation or taking magnesium or ashwagandha or doing a breathing exercise to calm our nervous system. And we try it and it feels good. And that's great. It gets us through the day. But very often, the moment that you stop doing that thing, the life that created all that stress is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. Imagine you're in a rowing boat and it's slowly sinking because there's a hole in it. And you're scooping out the water as fast as you can to keep it afloat. That's the meditating, that's the journaling, that's the supplements. And they absolutely do work for that. But the hole is still there and you can never stop scooping the water out. What you actually need to do is get the boat to shore and fix the hole. You need to start looking at the life itself because we are human beings. We are not human doings. And somewhere along the way, we've forgotten that. We've been told that simple isn't enough, that we need to do more and be more and cram more into our days. And we've ended up with just completely fried nervous systems and we've accepted it as normal. But it's not normal. It's not how we're meant to be living. And our bodies are telling us that through exhaustion, through fatigue, through illness, through anxiety, through stress. Because this whole way of hurried and busy and frantic and tense living is signaling to our nervous systems that we're not safe. And as women especially, our bodies thrive on safety, on feeling calm, on feeling settled, on not being in a constant state of go and stress. And I'm not a nervous system expert, but in my opinion and from my own experience, our nervous systems aren't broken. Our bodies aren't broken. I think they're responding exactly the way that they should be to lives that are too overwhelming. They're trying to communicate with us, but we're not listening. We're just trying to shut them up by meditating over the top of them. Is that a bit controversial? Maybe. Maybe I'm being too simplistic, but you get my point. And obviously, I don't want you coming away from this video thinking that breathing or meditation aren't good. That's not my point. They are, and they can be wonderful. The difference is I don't have to rely on them for my nervous system to feel calm, because my life and the foundations that I've built carry me. They create that calm for me naturally. So for this video, I thought instead of giving you a list of techniques that you can find so easily online, I just want to share how I've gone about being more intentional and designing my life so that my nervous system is naturally supported. For me, my anxiety really reached a peak back in 2019, 2020, and over the last few years, I've been slowly redesigning my life in a way that actually supports me rather than depletes me, creating foundations that everything else can sit on top of. And it's been in the simplifying and the slowing down that my nervous system has finally been able to soften. Not because I'm managing it every day and going through a checklist of things to help it, but because there's finally less for it to come up against, less for it to fight against, less for it to be worn down by. So the first thing is to understand the season of life that you're in. For me, I am a new mum. My daughter is 10 months old, and that's a lot of new stuff for my nervous system to be going through. And it'll keep changing as she grows. And sometimes life does bring seasons that are just a lot. And those are exactly the seasons to simplify. Simplify, simplify, simplify. So ask yourself, what are my priorities in this season? For me right now, it's my baby, it's my husband, and this YouTube channel. That's it. It takes real intention for me to say yes to anything that is outside of those three things. And it's not forever. It's just this season. And often this is where you have to be willing to be a little different because there's so much noise about what you should be doing in certain seasons of life, at certain stages of life. And for me, especially as a new mum, you have to be just so intentional and really trust your instincts on things because you don't have to do life or motherhood or whatever it is the way that everyone else does it. There's so many shoulds, so many things marketed to us, and it all just creates more overwhelm. And for me personally, in this season of motherhood, I really believe the best thing that we can give our children is a mother with a calm nervous system. The second thing that I did when I started to really get intentional and simplify my life was look at my days, look at my weeks, and I kind of created this filter for them. And they're 4 questions or 4 R's. So firstly, I think, what are the things that are draining me? What are the things that feel misaligned or not part of my priority for this season? And I ask, can I remove it? Can I reduce it? Can I redesign it? Or can I reframe it? Can I remove it completely? Can it just completely go? Can it be taken off my schedule? Can it be removed from my home? You know, if it's something physical, like physical clutter, or it could even be a way of thinking, like negative self-talk, something that can just go. Now, it might not always be easy, like negative self-talk, it takes some practice. Or scrolling on your phone, it can become such a habit that's very hard to break, but it can go. And if you can work on that and get it really much more intentional, it'll have such an impact. And if I can't remove it, can I reduce it? So less of it, maybe with some boundaries around it. An example could be maybe you're in a job that really doesn't suit your nervous system. And I think so many of us have been there. I certainly was for a long time. And maybe you can't just quit right now, but maybe you could go part-time, or maybe you can make sure you finish at 5 and leave work at work. That's an example of reducing. And if I can't reduce it, can I redesign it? So I keep the thing, but change how I do it so it actually feels good. So exercise is a good example here. For me personally, and not for everyone, but for me, the gym was a nervous system nightmare. I couldn't stand the music, the lighting, the whole environment. None of it suited me. But movement matters. So you don't give it up. You don't give up the exercise. Movement is important. But you can redesign it. And this is where the lifestyle aspect can come in. And you can have fun with it. Because I want my life to feel fun. I don't know about you. So my husband and I took up tennis for a while, which was wonderful. And now that baby's here, we are walking everywhere. And that's our movement. That's our exercise. And like I said in my last video, we very intentionally decided to move by the sea, so that we had these beautiful long walks along the coast. And that was such an intentional decision and part of me designing my life for my health and for my nervous system. So obviously you don't need to move house. It doesn't have to be as big as moving house. It's just about creating the conditions around you so that the good things, the things that nourish your nervous system come more easily and more naturally. And then if you genuinely can't remove it or reduce it or redesign it, then you can reframe it. You soften your relationship with it or your mindset around it, even just a small little tweak so it's not such a weight on your nervous system. You know, a lot of the time it's not what I'm doing that I can change. You know, I still have to do the laundry. I still need to do, all the stuff. That's just life. And we spend a lot of time doing it. So we don't want that stuff contributing to nervous system overload because we're doing them every day. So it might look like not running up and down the stairs and just slowly moving through the house between doing things, or not wolfing down your meals at the counter, or if you're out walking to the shops, not rushing, slowing down your pace. That one's quite a hard one for me. I've always been a really fast walker. And I'm really trying to, when it's not for exercise, I'm really trying to slow myself down and just calm my pace down a bit. But it's essentially just softening how you move through your days, how you relate to each thing that you're doing. And another part of this for me is picturing the woman that I want to be. She is soft. She doesn't rush. She sort of floats. I don't know if that's a good word, but that's how I think of it. She just floats through her day. She's present and she soaks things in as much as possible. And so when I'm getting a little frantic, I picture her in my head and I just try to be her. I just try and soften and just think, how would she go about this? Something else that's really helpful and I think very important is something I call the pause, where I just don't rush decisions anymore. I sit with them. I see how they feel in my gut before I commit to them. Obviously not for everything. I'm not deliberating for 5 days over what's for dinner, but for the things that really matter, I've learned to actually listen to my intuition and giving myself the space to listen to it in the first place without lots of noise coming in. Something else that I think is underrated is having one area in your house that feels calm pretty much all the time as much as possible, where it's calm, it's beautiful, you love how it looks, and you can look at it and just think, you can feel yourself soften. Even if the rest of your house is chaotic, this is absolutely me right now, you can be in that small area, or even if it's just one wall, you can look at it and you can breathe, you can soften, you can find beauty in it. And I think that's so important. I think beauty, for women especially, is an underrated thing for our nervous systems, to create beauty, to create harmony in our homes. So we can't just keep throwing new habits and techniques at an overwhelming life. That's kind of my point of this video, because the moment you stop, you're left with the life underneath. Those techniques and routines, as wonderful as they are, I wonder if we are often using them in a way that masks a life that is actually asking to be redesigned. So don't try and change everything at once, but this week, give yourself just a little time to gently look at your life with a little curiosity and find just one thing and ask, can I remove it? Can I reduce it? Or can I redesign it or reframe it? So start there, and I'll see you next time.